Afternoon, Penguin Beaches, and welcome down to Cormorant Cove. So we have another jam-packed day in store for you, and if you have a look, we still have Cedric hanging out with us.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cedric Dold. Welcome to Penguin Beach. I'm once again so thrilled to be this side, and I'm absolutely looking forward to another beautiful day spent here at Penguin Beach to see what new species of birds we can find, behaviors. I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks, Jax, and thanks to Flippy behind the camera.
So we do want to assure you that we are going to be sending Cedric back to the bush. I just haven't found a box big enough to put him in yet. So if you have any suggestions as to where we could get a box, please do send that to us using the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. You can also submit your answers on the channels page on our website. And if you're under the age of 18 and have the solution, email us at kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Of course, please also send us your comments and your questions. I'm sure there will be a box somewhere, but we're very excited because today we're going to do Penguin Beach and Stony Point really through Cedric's eyes. So what I'd love to do is actually see how Cedric sees Stony Point, what he picks up on when he's in this environment, and then chat about what he sees. So yeah, let's have a look at our cormorants, and we'll start off with our favorite nest because you will see that we have almost no babies left. They have all fledged, almost all fledged. So Cedric, we had 6 white-breasted cormorants in this nest. We had king, queen, jack, ace, joker, and spade. And you're not very convinced with my card knowledge. But we have only two babies left. And I was having a look because there was a penguin just below the nest, and there is one of our cormorants that has fledged just below the nest.
Oh, call it joker.
We thought we had 5, and then we had 6.
But it's absolutely, there's such a diversity of wildlife here. It's amazing.
So we already have a question for Cedric, and it's a request actually that we see a hammerkop dance at the weather very soon. I'm sure you can see it is a beautiful day, but yes, I think that is something we do have to see down here at Penguin Beach. Flippy and I have never seen it with our own eyes, and we would just be delighted. Cedric is giving me devil's eyes. He has threatened to throw me in the ocean today.
We'll see.
But let's have a look at the ocean, or the weather rather, and we'll be back in just a moment. It is the perfect day to do a hammerkop shuffle.
Clearly, I think I agree with you. I think I just have to look for not the ocean water source. I think that's going to be a little bit dangerous. I think maybe a little bit of a puddle somewhere, or I have to do maybe a dry land hammerkop shuffle. That would be a new one for me. I will not have that feeling of the splashing between my toes. Of course, my toes I do not want to expose.
So we're having a look at some other bird species. We don't really get hammerkops here. Hammerkops don't really live by the sea, but in this frame we have a white-breasted cormorant who's doing some gular fluttering. So the cormorant is very hot and it's trying to cool itself down. We also have a little egret that's been around this morning, and Flippy and Cedric are saying that they think this egret is eating the sea slaters.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I was walking through the kelp yesterday, and every time I actually disturbed the kelp, you could actually see those the insects really coming out from there. And I think it's a perfect food source for the little egrets. And it's actually amazing that we don't actually get more of them around in this area because of so many what's it like
different food sources
different food sources in that.
Fish. So Dark Main Lover is asking and would really love to see Stanley or some of our other characters today. So Dark Main Lover, what we will do for you is we are going to take a little bit of a walk later on, and Cedric's going to see what he finds, and then we will go, I think, to the Shire, to Jacuzzi, because a lot of our characters seem to come up in that area. So we'll definitely have a look out, Dark Main Lover. Thank you so much for your comment. And I haven't seen Stanley in a very long time, actually. We saw half Stan the other day, Flippy and I, before the show.
My heart rate has gone up slightly. In fact, it's gone up quite a lot. This elephant is now 2 meters from us. Okay, we might have to move here. No? Yes. Sorry, my friend, but you're about to push that onto the car. You see how cross he was that we didn't want to watch him push the tree over. That's why we moved.
Tingana has been affectionately known as the Duke of Djuma for many years, but his path to the throne was not an easy one. Mvula was a legend from the south.
This is the cat that I'm pretty sure Tingana was sniffing around for. That is Mvula. How exciting is this?
Eventually, Mvula lost, but his young son Quarantine started to push through from the east. At the beginning of 2018, an intruder arrived. His name was Hukamuri.
So this little egret is still feeding here, and actually, Cedric, like we usually see them over in the left wing, and we usually see them hunting for fish. And to me, it would make more sense to eat fish because it's a much higher energy food source. But it seems that this little egret has decided to exploit a different niche. But I just see, Flippy, do you see that those white-breasted cormorants are chasing each other? Do you see those three kind of walking along? To see. It looks like we've got 3 pairs of penguins, so we're actually going to look at those instead. And Louis is asking us if the penguins are actually mating. All spotted, Flippy. So Louis is asking us if we're birders. So Cedric, do you consider yourself a birder?
Louis, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on WildEarth at Penguin Beach. Do I consider myself a birder? Yes, Louis, but I'm not a huge avid birder where I'm a twitcher, where of course every bird that flies past that I have to throw my binocs at. But I do enjoy new species in areas like this now where I am. I definitely had quite a few lifers over my last few days here with Byron and Jax. They really showed me quite a bit of different species that we do get in the Cape, and it's always exciting just to see the habitat and different species in that habitat. So Louis, it's always fun to do birding, and I just saw the swift turn that's just gone past. Common turn. Turns are very difficult. I'm still getting used to my seabirds. A swift turn and a common turn. Well, I think Jax just definitely she corrected me there, and she's just laughing at me. Anyway.
I'm only laughing because the turns are, in the bush you have the LBJs, the little brown jobs, which are these very nondescript birds. And Louis, to answer your question, I grew up with parents who were birders. So I remember sitting in 40-degree heat in Kruger, having my parents identify these birds, and I thought it was the most awful thing in the world. But birding is very much like a fungus. It is something that creeps up on you. You don't realize it's happening, and then suddenly you become a birder. And that's exactly what Cedric is trying to do now. He's trying to become a fungus towards me. But I consider myself, it's going to sound a bit strange, but I have a few terrestrial birds that I'd really love to see, things I'd love to add to my life list, like a Pulse fishing owl and a shoebill. But I'm very much an oceanic twitcher. So if I go to sea, There's so many incredible pelagic seabirds, and that's sort of where my birding passion was really ignited. I've always liked birds, but once I started working at sea and looking at terns and petrels and albatross and cormorants, seabirds definitely sort of stoked those fires, and so I twitch for seabirds. Byron twitches for any bird. Byron is indiscriminate in his twitching, and I think Cedric and I both love learning from Byron. He also sends us updates.
This morning we were driving and suddenly we heard a lot of commotion. I think the wild dogs might have caught an impala then, or the leopard might have caught the impala, and as it was dragging it, the wild dog saw it, started chasing the leopard up into the tree, and then the hyenas came to steal it. But what an incredible sighting.
So for Cedric, the penguins remind him very much of the predatory birds. And Cedric, if you see penguins sitting as close together as what these birds are, it means that they're a couple. Generally, penguins like their personal space, so if they are allowing a bird very close to them, you can sometimes assume that that's actually their partner that they've allowed in their space. But yesterday, Flippy, we got to see a love triangle with penguins. So we had a female penguin with two males trying to get with her, which was really, really fascinating to see. And the males were competing with each other to a degree, and the female was not very interested in the male who was winning. So he was trying to pat her sides, and she was just very uninterested. And here we've got some reciprocal grooming, two penguins who are enjoying each other's company.
So that is now a male and a female. That's really kind of grooming each other and just getting pretty much the bond strong between the two of them.
And do you know how to tell the difference between male and female penguins, Cedric?
Yes, I think, look, I've been watching Penguin Beach for a while. I think it's because I haven't been here, I've watched Penguin Beach for a bit and I've enjoyed your information. And I heard about the male beak being a little bit longer, and it goes, the gape of the penguin's beak goes a little bit further towards its eye compared to a female, if I'm not mistaken.
So I'm super impressed that you know that, because that's not always the easiest fact. So you've really been watching and paying attention. I'm super impressed. So that is how we tell the difference. Quite honestly, it's very difficult to do. If you've got them together, sometimes you can see it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot easier for scientists, and they have very fancy formulas that they use to be able to tell the difference.
Very interesting.
But it's lovely to know that you watch Penguin Beach, Cedric.
Oh, yes. No, definitely. I think all walks of life, nature, I think in general, especially being naturalists, we've got to enjoy everything from one side of the planet to the other side. And I think it's really, really... Oh, look at that. And we've got a young one, still pretty much, still got a molt. What is that, young? How old would you think that is, Jax?
So, if they still look like this, they're either 1 or 2 years old. So some penguins molt in the first year, others molt in the second year. And this juvenile was trying to move through the adults. It's a very scary place to be because the adults are not very kind.
And they don't really accept the young ones too much. But I see it's already getting that little black band under the chin. So I guess it's slowly but surely getting to that like sub-adult or juvenile stage.
Looks like it. He's, oh, the adult just fell off the rock next to him.
They seem to be a little bit clumsy. I saw yesterday was a very funny scenario where one of the adults just fell off a little rock into the water. But I'm sure they're used to their clumsiness. Very, very cute. But it's also amazing just being here at Cormorant.
So I'm so sorry, we had a bit of a technical difficulty, and just before we had to go into that loop, Kathy Lee was asking Cedric what the most surprising thing he's seen down here at Penguin Beaches, and what is the most surprising thing?
I said Jack's was the most surprising thing I saw, but no, to be like honest, I think everything, to be, to understand the marine life and even the fynbos further into from where the ocean is, penguins, and of course all these different bird species around here. So there is so many surprises. I thought the one has been a surprise until the next thing happened. It has been absolutely incredible, just learning from, of course, the experts from the marine area, and I think I can't express myself anymore kind of about what's been surprising, but yes, it's been fantastic. Of course, Jack's has been a surprise.
With the traditional stories, I've learned that it does have future and a past. If you follow it, you'll never ever go wrong in life. It's very important because it contains, of course, history background and the knowledge of the bush. In each every family they have so-called a tree or amarula tree. We'll go there and kneel down and talk to the tree and say, we want success in the family.
Ribbon is the matriarch and has recently been seen with injuries to her body. Corky was the previous matriarch and is believed to be taking back her status. Intima was born to Ribbon in February 2017 and also enjoys a high ranking. Heart is the next rank down, and named June is believed to be the lowest rank, easily recognizable by a floppy left ear.
Yeah, so I think that is certainly something that surprises us as guides, is how when you watch a species enough, you really get to see that every animal does have a personality. Some animals are bolder, some animals are more shy, and also cooperation, I think, between animals is something that we see, even with the birds. That's quite special.
Fully agree. And I mean, I'm just looking even at some of these penguins and where they've been nesting. It's really amazing.
So James Richard has a question for you. I didn't hear it perfectly, but oh no, have you seen a whale? That's what it was.
Oh,
James Richard would love to know. I don't know if you've ever actually submitted a question to us before, so I'm very excited that you are with us on Penguin Beach today. Have you seen a whale yet, Cedric?
Well, James Richard, welcome. You're so nice to hear one of your comments and questions here at Penguin Beach. I'm so happy. Have I seen a whale this side? Unfortunately not at this point of time. I'm really hoping so, but I'm sure the whale season will be happening very shortly. I know Jack's said, I think in the next couple of weeks, month, that the whales will start coming through. So I was really excited maybe to see some around here, but I guess I'll have to make it like another stop next time on my leave. I'll definitely make my way back to Penguin Beach for a couple of days. So don't be surprised to see my face back this side for the whales.
We are certainly not keeping him. We will return him to his rightful owners at Djuma. And that's only in a couple of weeks that you'll be back. So
yes,
then we'll be watching you with the leopards again.
Definitely. Well, talking about leopards.
So Lisa's asking, will I go and visit Djuma next? And will I, Cedric? I think you should answer that question.
No, that's Jack's. That's your answer. I think, thanks, Lisa, but I'm sure Jack's will answer that one.
I will be honest and say that I would love to go to Djuma. So I used to go to the bush very often growing up, and living in the Cape, it's very far away. So I would love to go and spend some time in the bush. It's been, I think, three or 4 years since I've been in Kruger or Greater Kruger. I think it would be lovely to come and see the animals and learn from the guides, because there's so much that you miss out on, and there's so many things that you stop learning about because you're not in an area. So it's fantastic to actually hear the knowledge of Cedric and Tess and Liam and the guides that we have. So I think that would be very exciting. I can't tell you when. We don't know when. Our lives are always very spontaneous, which is what we love. but certainly I hope to pop up at Djuma at some point.
And of course, she is going to be spitting some impala dung for us when she's that side. As she made me eat some kelp, so we've got to do a little bit of thing for her when she gets there. You know, it is. Or wallowing.
3 brothers named the Avoca males arrived in Djuma in 2018. This area had recently been vacated by the Birmingham boys. In 2019, they were seen mating with females from both prides and went on to sire cubs with them. The most recognizable lion in this coalition is Darkmane. Aside from the dark mane that gave him his name, he can be recognized by a distinctive limp.
In that tree are 2 carcasses. There's a duiker carcass and a waterbuck. Oh, it's not as graceful as... He's a bit hesitant because, well, climbing a tree is not the easiest, but he will get up there eventually. So let's see, there he goes. And look at the power in that. That is a massive 500-pound cat that has just climbed the marula tree and is up in there. How cool is this? I don't know how he's going to do it, but let's see.
Moment.
So today our amazing director is Nadine, and Cedric is saying that I need to go wallowing if I ever visit Djuma, and Nadine is saying that Cedric cannot tell me to wallow if he has not yet wallowed. And you can see that we have just the most supportive team. Nadine is amazing, and I think she's right. I think if one wallows, we all wallow. I think that should be our slogan as team members, in fact.
I'm with that. I'm definitely with that. We can always definitely wallow together, but it's true. Thanks, Nadine. I agree with you there. I think I was a little bit on a sad side to my first wallowing expedition, but yes, definitely my wallowing speedo is on, so I'm ready for that.
We will make sure that Cedric is wallowing in board shorts for you all, and we're still looking at Cormorant Cove. I think we will be on the move pretty soon. And Nadine is saying that Cedric should actually jump into the cold water of the Cape. And I actually agree. So cold water is very good for the human body. If you've heard of, you know, the Iceman, I certainly find after I've had a snorkel in cold water, I feel very rejuvenated. And this ocean that Flippy is showing us, this is the Atlantic Ocean. A lot of people think this is still the Indian Ocean. But in fact, the oceans converge at Cape Agulhas, the most southern tip of Africa. Although the convergence zone is not a very small zone, the convergence zone is all the way from Port Elizabeth to Cape Point. So we are in what we call the temperate oceanic province of South Africa. Our water is not too hot, it's not too cold. It is just right for the life that we see. And we've got a beautiful white-breasted cormorant who is leaving the ocean now. You'll see that the cormorants prefer not to fly too much when they are in Cormorant Cove. They tend to bounce from rock to rock until they get back to their destination. And the white-breasted cormorant is the most numerate cormorant species that we're seeing at Cormorant Cove at the moment. And Cedric, have you spent much time watching them up at Djuma?
Definitely. I think white cormorant is one of our most common cormorant that we do have around in that area. Yes, we do have the reed cormorant as well, but many times you'll find the white cormorant at certain dams, but not as abundant as we do see them here at Penguin Beach, of course, due to the fact of food availability. And it's always nice to see them around there at Djuma and actually just watch them, especially when they're coming out of the water after really fishing and going diving for that fish. When they usually do come out, they'll always sit on those dead stumps or the branches around the dam areas and spread out their wings and really dry off their wings as well. So it is fantastic to really see so many different cormorant species here at Cormorant Cove. Of course, hence the name.
So I've just been thinking as Cedric's been talking, and I think what would be incredible is Cedric and Byron are here together tomorrow. Oh, And it looks, there is, oh my goodness. So I think we have a kitlet's plover with chicks that our incredible Flippy has spotted for us.
Well done.
Those are tiny. Those are teeny,
Two of
tiny
them.
little creatures.
Look how small that one is.
Oh my goodness.
That is
How lucky are we?
small.
We are chatting away and Flippy is doing all the hard work for us.
Two.
So, is that a baby duckle? No.
No, but there's two of them at that side. They look like little ones, and then it's like the plovers.
Yes, yeah, we're looking at the little kitlet's plovers. So there's a duck in that frame. And the little kitlet's plovers are slightly to the left now. So I see both of the parents in frame. And the chicks are now moving towards the kelp line. And we're going to have a tough time showing them to you because they are minute. They couldn't weigh more than a few grams, I don't think.
They are so cute. I thought those blacksmith lapwings were cute. These ones are really small.
So the baby's on the left. Oh my goodness.
Cute.
This is incredible.
All WildEarth explorers have a chance to join our naturalists in a monthly fireside chat. This is a great way to learn more about our guides, animal characters, and wildlife locations. We would love to hear from you as to the topics that interest you the most. Email us your ideas or tweet using the hashtag WildEarth, and we will be sure to take them into account when planning our evenings around the fire in the future. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature.
So Cedric has brought us fantastic weather, but he's also brought us some luck because we have a beautiful kitlet's plover chick who is feeding in and amongst the kelp.
That is so cute.
I think these are the first ever plover chicks that we've had on the show, so Flippy spotted them. So
Yeah, well done, Flippy.
we owe you cake, cupcakes, baked goods,
And a hammerkop shuffle.
and a hammerkop shuffle. Yes, I agree. Being so generous here, Cedric. So these little plovers will eat the little invertebrates. So I think that they're very likely to eat the sea slaters and the beach hoppers. And the last time we saw kitlet's plover on the show was with Igor and Byron. I think it's a month and a half or almost 2 months ago when we had a very stormy sea. And I think that we had the water coming in. So Amy is saying that these guys are so cute, she just can't handle it. And I agree, there's nothing more adorable than tiny shorebirds. And you can see these babies are so well camouflaged because in a normal marine environment, they are literally just on sand. They have very little protection. And so these little chicks, if there is something that is going to threaten them, will often just freeze and just sort of stay where they are and hope that their camouflage holds them. And is there...
Some brilliant adaptation, no? It's always with those little chicks. It's amazing how they can... I wonder if it's not the same as your blacksmith lapwings, where we had that at Twin Dam or Treehouse Dam, where they actually just venture so far away from the adults and really go on by themselves, and of course feeding by themselves. As you know, they are precocial birds, so they are born with downing feathers, their eyes open, because they are pretty much ground nesting birds. So I wonder if these little chicks will actually venture just as far as those blacksmith lapwings that we did have. It'll be very, very interesting.
So I've lost the chicks. So they are so well camouflaged and they're so tiny. And I believe that these plovers also form monogamous pairs. So they'll raise their chicks together, and these chicks were likely just born in a little scrape on the ground. Do you see the chicks, Flippy? I think we've all lost the chicks. If you see them in the frame, viewers, please let us know. Oh, I think I see them now, just outside of the kelp line to the left.
Oh, there's one's on the rock there, yes.
I think
One's on the rock. Yes, one's on the rock.
Oh, I think that's an adult.
Yeah, that's an adult. That's an adult. Almost pretty much, if you look at it, it's like almost the same size as your three-banded plover that we do get up at Djuma Private Game Reserve. It's very much the same size plovers.
So Nadine, our director, is also spotting for us, and she said the third chick popped up and then left. So it's so tricky to spot them on the ground, and this is camouflage doing what it needs to do. So I'm very happy for these chicks. So they look very much like the three-banded plover. Here we also get the white-breasted plover. And Flippy has found us the baby with that very fluffy little bum. There's very dark coloration at the top. So I cannot tell you how old these babies are. We have no idea. We are here every day, but you can see that these are so tiny. It's so difficult to actually spot them. So we don't know where the nest is.
One is having a confrontation with the water thickening.
So Charlotte, you're asking the threats for these little babies. I would say kelp gulls are definitely a big threat. Kelp gulls will eat anything and everything. White-breasted cormorants, you'd be surprised, but they have been known to eat the chicks of other birds. So even the white-breasted cormorants might try to have a snack. They are not dwarf mongoose. There are grey mongoose in the area that might eat the chicks. Anything else that you can think of?
Water mongoose, you won't get them. Are they aquatic or freshwater?
The water mongoose, I think that they're more freshwater.
Freshwater?
Yeah.
All right. So I thought I agree with Jax as well there with the grey mongoose. I definitely saw some grey mongoose running around here earlier. But other than that, predation, I think, well, they've got enough camouflage as it is, so I'm sure those little chicks will be very safe for now.
There's a big male leopard coming this way.
I've been waiting for a sighting of the two of them like this together. She just, for me, is just one of the most pretty females out here. As you can see, we're sitting with the Duke of Djuma, Tingana, who is busy surveying his territory as the sun begins to set on another day in South Africa.
Here at WildEarth, we have added a range of new products and designs for the WildEarth shop. If you love being in nature, then we have a new range just for you. Our animal character line continues to grow, and this week we have incorporated a beautiful Tandy design to celebrate our favorite queen's life. April is Earth Day month, and investing in our planet is the message. And finally, there's a range just for our very own WildEarth explorers. Head over to our shop now and see what you can find.
So we wanted to go walkabout, but I think we're so enthralled by these babies, we might not do that. Luckily, we have Cedric here tomorrow with Byron. So Cedric looks scared almost.
Not at all. Not at all.
And,
enjoying every minute.
They are going to also spend some time hanging out here and see what they can find. You are here tomorrow, or are you heading home?
I'm here tomorrow.
Okay, Cedric is here tomorrow. So
I'll have to give Byron some grief as well. Some Djuma grief.
So we're giving each other mutual grief at the moment, but so special to share these two chicks. And I do wonder, will we watch them grow up? Will we start to see them regularly? Will we give them names? But a question from Arctic Circle. So Cedric, Arctic Circle wants to know, what is the one must-have thing that you've brought with from the bush to the coast?
Your Arctic Circle, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us once again here in WildEarth at Penguin Beach. One thing that you have to bring every time that you come from the bush, wherever you go, I believe, is binoculars. It's very important. I think it's one of the things that, especially if you enjoy birding or wildlife, just having a good old pair of binocs is always a very kind of a necessity for us. But on top of that, also my shoes, of course, that I do not want to show my toes to Jack, so it was very important to bring my shoes from the bush this side as well instead of my flip-flops. So that's also another thing that was had to be packed in the bag.
For viewers who don't watch the safari show, that comes from me watching a show and expecting to see some beautiful wildlife, to be greeted with photographs of Cedric's toes and Tessa's very nice shoes with animal socks. So I just had to ask about the relevance of feet on the show, but I don't know what's worse, if Cedric is not wearing closed shoes or the idea that there are closed shoes here and that someone might have to drink out of your shoes. I think that for me is the worst part of the safari show, is the idea of having a beer out of one of your boots. We're still watching this beautiful Kitlet's plover chick. And these little plovers will have to develop quite fast on the shoreline. So I don't think they stay with their parents all too long. I must be honest and say I don't know all that much about them.
My favorite thing about WildEarth are the animals and the interaction and the ability to wait and watch and not rush off. You get to watch their behavior and learn about the individuals. I would like to see the hyenas at the hyena den, and I have. There they are. Look at that. If I could be any animal, I would be a cheetah. I would love to run fast.
Our Western Cape coastline is graced with the Cape fur seal. This playful species is curious and entertaining. At Hout Bay Seal Rescue Centre, seals in need are rescued, fed and nursed back to health by our well-trained team of dedicated staff and volunteers. This wonderful legacy of the centre is continued as these protected creatures are rehabilitated and released back into the wild.
So Cedric thinks that these chicks might stay with their parents for several months. I think what's going to be great is tomorrow Byron will be on show, and then we can have a look and see how long Kitlet's plover chicks will stay with their parents, and we will let you know tomorrow. What is very interesting for me is a lot of our shorebirds, so our African black oyster catchers and our white-fronted plovers, breed during the rainy season because we don't have stormy seas. And this is now our stormy season. So I find it very interesting that these chicks have been hatched now. Because during the stormy season, you have lots of water running into this area and onto the beaches. And so the eggs would typically be washed away. So I find it very interesting that the Kitlet's plover has now chosen to actually raise their chicks at this time of year. It's very interesting. And we are still looking at an adult. So you can see they've got that white and black band around the head. It seems to be very distinctive of the Kitlet's plover. I'm trying to locate it with binoculars, and they really are so well camouflaged. If you lose them and look for them again, the heart-lip skulls are very talkative today. They're all saying hello to Cedric. They're very excited to see him.
They're very noisy, yeah. Very, very noisy, but very, very interesting. It always reminds me of the coast when you actually hear that noise of the gulls coming through. I really, really enjoy that that sound.
Let's see. Let's have a look at the cormorants, because the juvenile cormorants are actually chasing their parents for food, which is quite funny. So the juvenile cormorants, after they fledge, are fed by their parents for several months actually, or a couple of months at least, before they will actually feed only by themselves. So although they are learning to fly and they will start to hunt, they still get some help from their parents.
You can see that the young, the juvenile, really getting inside of the parent's throat. To, of course, it's called a gizzard, and I know that they go right down to the gizzard and actually pull out the fish or whatever food that the parents have caught in the sea. They'll actually go down and they'll actually kind of almost regurgitate it in towards the chick's beak. And it's fascinating how deep that chick's head goes into the parent's throat.
And I can't help but notice that we only have 20 minutes left for a hammercorp shuffle, and I think after Flippy's expert spot of the day even, I think he deserves a hammercorp shuffle today.
Yes, I shall do it in the next few. I think Flippy definitely deserves it. I think Penguin Beach deserves it for such a great time that I've been having here. And yes, well, I don't know, without the water, that's the only problems, and there's no music. So apparently Jax is also going to be singing for us. I don't know which song, so I'm just waiting for that song to come through.
That is interesting that is apparent. I haven't chosen a song. We haven't prepared anything. So we will have to think of something. I'm not doing Shake It Off again. I think Shake It Off is one that we've played enough now. We'll think very carefully about a song. If we have any suggestions, Cedric is having a very nice laugh.
We have got an epic battle going on between a pirate fly and a drop-tail ant. Look at that, look at that. So what's happening is these ants are moving from one side to another, and these pirate flies are trying to steal the baby ants.
Hukamore. Oh, here's an impressive looking male leopard. Look at that neck on him. He just looks ready for a fight.
This is only the third time that we are seeing him that is known as the Hukamori male, and he certainly has a lot of character and atmosphere.
This is gorgeous. Hukamuri having a drink at one of the little seasonal pans.
Isn't he absolutely gorgeous? Compact, powerful, focused. I love it.
So Cedric says I've bragged about my voice. When I was younger, I used to love singing. I am now very out of tune and very awful. So I will try to give you my best. I'm leaning towards a Lion King song. So Kathy Lee is asking Cedric, have you seen the Shire yet? And tell Kathy Lee your feelings of the Shire, because this is an important conversation.
Kathy Lee, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us, and it's amazing for another great question from your side. The Shire, what's the Shire? It's called the Shire. Shire, of course, Lord of the Rings Shire. Now, of course, in the Lowveld area where we're from, where Djuma Private Game Reserve and Pridelands is. It's of course the Lowveld, and we know Shire as a Shangaan word meaning Shire, I'm going to hit. So I don't know how the Shire came along. It's a very interesting way of calling a penguin's nest, if you want to call it a Shire. But yeah, if I had to say something like, yeah, the bird lives in a Shire in the Lowveld area, the people think I'm living in a hit. I don't know, how can I live in a hit, but that's fantastic. I like the wording, but it's also amazing how these penguins use these undergrowth and these little shrubs and bushes around here as a beautiful nesting area.
And in a blinding flash of light, I think I might do Under the Sea as my song. I might try to replicate Sebastian's wonderful rendition of a very true and very important message. And have you watched The Little Mermaid?
Under the sea, under the sea.
Poor Flippy cannot even look at us. Flippy is so ashamed. He can't make eye contact. I think what we'll do, Flippy, should we end off today's session with us doing Under the Sea and the Hammerkorp Shuffle?
I think that's a good idea.
I think that's what we will do, is we will end off our show today with
embarrassing moment.
With an uplifting moment. Fantastic. Our directors think this is a great idea. I think we're all Disney fans. I think everybody's a Disney fan.
Yes, of course.
Nothing better than those Disney songs to sing along to.
Especially that we're at the coast.
So I think this is going to go down well. Let's go back to our animals actually, because we're not talking about the birds we're seeing at all. We've got too much other things to chat about. It's very bad English. But you can see our penguins are looking awake at the moment. I think the tide is starting to come in, so I think they're starting to move out, or they will start to move out of the area shortly. And today's been a nice hot day for us, but the penguins are not showing any signs of heat stress, so they are just sitting on the rocks. Their mouths are not open. So Alexis, you are asking about leopards in the Cape Mountains, and that is true. So we do have the Cape leopard here, the Cape Mountain leopard. It is the same species as what you have in Djuma. The leopards here are smaller, and Byron's spoken about this on the show before, and I think he did in the fireside chat as well. So the Cape leopard has adapted to a very different niche. It's very mountainous. In this region, we don't have very many large animals, and so they eat smaller birds, they eat smaller animals like I think they eat moles. I'm trying to think, because there have been studies done on them. The dussies they'll eat. We do have klipspringers in the area, believe it or not. I think they definitely go for that. Little bushbuck also are sometimes seen in the area, in the mountainous regions, that they'll go for. So it's quite amazing because they have quite large ranges here, and it's very much the same as your leopards in Djuma. So you'll have a male that has a very large range, and then you'll have females within that range. And occasionally on camera traps in the area, they pick them up.
All WildEarth explorers have a chance to join our naturalists in a monthly fireside chat. This is a great way to learn more about our guides, animal characters, and wildlife locations. We would love to hear from you as to the topics that interest you the most. Email us your ideas or tweet using the hashtag WildEarth, and we will be sure to take them into account when planning our evenings around the fire in the future. WildEarth explorers, it's in your nature.
We're looking at these bank cormorants that have very, what's the right way to say it? They've got very fine nests. So their nests are made of seaweed. So you can see they exploit different things to make their nests. And so the bank cormorants will pat their seaweed nests down so they look very nice and neat. You can see all the guano on the rocks. Yeah. And your white-breasted cormorants have much larger nests, much more dramatic nests. You can see lots of gular fluttering, and we've got some Egyptian geese in that frame too.
And the crown cormorant, Jacks, was, I think they've also almost like the bank cormorant, like a nesting style. That's a very small, that's a very fine with a couple of sticks and branches. Nothing as huge as the white-breasted cormorant. I can just try and take a look for any of those crown cormorants on top.
So Flippy's going to have a look for a crown cormorant nest. So the nests are smaller than your white-breasted. They've got more sticks than your bank cormorants, but definitely it's a small, sticky nest, and they will also take seaweed. So I think they're sort of a combination of the two, but much smaller than your white-breasted.
It just shows you can actually learn so much, you know, being coming up from the low veld and coming down towards this area in the Cape, towards Penguin Beach, and you learn so much about different nesting structures, even if it's the same kind of species, birds and all that. It's just really amazing how each one adapts itself to using different kinds of material for its nesting source, and it's always so fascinating. I think that's why nature plays such a fantastic role for us all over, from the south, from the coastal lines right to the inner land area. It is really, really fascinating.
What does that cormorant have? There's such beautiful views of the crown cormorants. Oh, look. So I think that's just some interpersonal behavior. So it's the two partners. The one was on top of the other. What's very interesting, on the left-hand side of the frame, we've got our Cape cormorants. And Cape cormorants are very different to the other species because when they mate, the female actually mounts the male first, and she just sits on top of the male. The cloacas don't touch, but then after that, what will happen is that the male will mount the female and the cloacas will touch, and then
very interesting, Jokes.
She will be fertilized. So although the cormorants might look a little bit similar, there are very distinct differences in their behavior, in their nests. They occupy different niches, and that's why they can all live together here in this area in harmony. So everything is just slightly different, which allows them to enjoy each other's company without threatening each other.
And to accommodate each other. It's very true. And it's such a wonderful day here. It's honestly, the sun is shining. You would not believe here at the Cape area. It really feels like I'm in the low veld.
You've got to channel your low veld dancing very soon because we have only 7 minutes left of the show. I think that the highlight of the show for me today has been those little kitlets, plover chicks. I think that's been incredible.
There's a big male leopard coming this way.
I've been waiting for a sighting of the two of them like this together. She just, for me, is just one of the most pretty females out here. As you can see, we're sitting with the Duke of Djuma, Tingana, who is busy surveying his territory as the sun begins to set on another day in South Africa.
Here at WildEarth, we have added a range of new products and designs for the WildEarth shop. If you love being in nature, then we have a new range just for you. Our animal character line continues to grow, and this week we have incorporated a beautiful Tandy design to celebrate our favorite queen's life. April is Earth Day month, and investing in our planet is the message. And finally, there's a range just for our very own WildEarth explorers. Head over to our shop now and see what you can find.
So we're just talking about our wonderful time that we've been having and how the weather has really held out for Cedric the whole time, which has been lovely. And Flippy is, we've got a fight between penguins down here at Cormorant Cove. So you can see the one penguin has chased the other into the water. They always get a bit more twitchy as the tide comes in.
Well, it's actually fascinating that Chris will be, of course, starting today in Pride Lands. I'm so happy to see him that side. Of course, I did work with him and his last stint down there at Djuma Private Game Reserve. So really, really hoping that I'll get to link over to Chris in the next couple of weeks. And I'm sure he's going to enjoy it, and I'm sure he's going to show you folks a lot of interesting, different things around Pride Lands. And it is Leopard Week that is coming up as well. So yes, make sure that you are wearing your leopard prints this week. And I'm definitely going to be looking for some leopard clothing so I can take back to Djuma. I don't know what kind of leopard clothing. I think maybe a sock and actually, I shouldn't actually start saying something because I know I see Jax she's already smiling and coming up with something. So I know how to dig a hole for myself. That's just typical Cedric's style, always.
Cedric digs very good wallowing holes, I'm told. So I just think it would be very beautiful to watch you and Byron look like leopards tomorrow. Bring leopards down to
that's actually a very good idea.
Beach. I think that would be quite an enjoyable thing for everyone.
I think we should take a look and see what we can pull out of the closet.
See what you can find. And we have 4 minutes left. Three minutes, in fact, so I think Penguin Beaches, it is time. It is time for a dry rendition of the Hammerkorb Shuffle. And I'm going to stand on the other side of the boardwalk. I'd like some safety space from dear Cedric.
Well, of course, usually the lead singer, the singer gets everything. So yeah, so I'm sure that the camera will be more, of course, focused on Jax, as she is prettier than I am. So of course, I don't want to scare everybody away.
I think that we should focus on the shuffle, but I think we best get started. So Cedric, the human world is a mess. Life under the sea is better than anything that you will find out there. The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. You dream about going up there, but that is a big mistake. Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor. Such wonderful things around you. What more are you looking for? Under the sea.
Under the sea.
Where is it better? Down is better. Take it from me. Up on the shore they slave all day. Under the sea.
What a
Full
good
time
start.
devoting under the sea. So we hope that you enjoyed that. Wasn't the longest rendition, but we don't want Cedric out of breath again. Guys, we hope that you've had the most fantastic time with us. I am gone. I'll see you again on the weekend. Cedric has one more day down here with us. He's going to be with Byron. We will let you know more about those little kitless plover chicks tomorrow. So on behalf of Flippy, myself, and of course Cedric, thank you so much for joining us down here, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.